Various civil society groups have condemned the action of the Manipur police, which has reportedly filed an FIR against the three-member fact-finding committee that had gone to the state following the violence on May 3rd. Now, to understand how this serious charges will impact future independent fact-finding committees, and also to sort of analyze the seriousness of the charges, we are joined today by Ms. Kavita Srivastava. She's the president of PUCL, People's Union for Civil Liberties. Ms. Nisha Sidhu, she's the national secretary of National Federation of Indian Women. She is the one who traveled along with the other two teammates to Manipur. And we are joined by Advocate Wills Matthews. So to begin the program with Ms. Kavita, because she's traveling and she has to leave. Ma'am, if we talk about criminalization of human rights per se, and the role of the independent fact-finding committees to actually undertake such inquiries, how do you see this, charges playing out itself?
See, it's very interesting. Mahatma Gandhi actually did one of the first fact-finding when he went to Champaran, when he was called by the farmers who were being forced to grow indigo. And when he went there, he just did an inquiry, a fact-finding. That is when he was told, when the magistrate told him there was a case against him, and he said, okay, then throw me in. But I will continue doing this questioning, I will ask people. So the history of doing fact-finding is an essential tool of my human rights work. It's part of my right to know. How will I know if I don't inquire? And therefore, how will I know if I don't ask questions? And then I have the freedom of movement to go to any part of the country. So the particular fact-finding team of NFIW, led by Ani Raja and Nisha Sidhu, accompanied by a lawyer, they all went using their constitutional rights, went to inquire. They have a unit in the north, in Manipur. Many of the women were in deep distress. They went to respond to their community of women who were in their organization. They decided to put together a report, and they put together an interim report. If there is violence which takes the lives of 150 people, if more than 300 churches are destroyed, if more than 70,000 people find themselves in camps, what are we going to say? Will we praise the government? We'll obviously say that you are culpable and that Chief Minister stepped down, you have failed. What's so outrageous about these demands? After all, he's a democratically elected Chief Minister, taken the oath of the Indian Constitution. If there are violations happening, he can be asked, step down. What's so outrageous about it? And nobody can continue violence for over 2 months if there isn't state sponsorship. Having said that, we as PUCL believe that what the NFIW team, accompanied by a lawyer, what they did was their constitutional right. They had all the right to not only go and inquire, put together a report, do a press conference, raise the demands. There was nothing unconstitutional in any of the demand. Democracy is adversarial politics. After all, the BJP and Congress, aren't they doing adversarial politics? And it is our right. We may not be political parties, but we have a right to say, bhai, step down. And then to say that because they said state-sponsored violence and because they showed Meera Paibi women in bad light.
I was just coming to that point.
They showed them in bad light. The sentiment was hurt. Therefore, what are the sections? Do you even know what these sections are?
Ma'am, I'll just come to that.
So basically, they've tried to criminalize their constitutional rights, number one. Number two, it's not just their team. Even academics like Professor Khan Swan Hossing, they filed FIRs against him, and other community groups of Meiteis. They filed FIRs only for documentation, only
Right,
for
right,
giving an interview. So this is
right.
outrageous. In fact, they
Yes.
are violating. The state is violating our rights, not
Okay. So
us
if I
doing
could,
it.
okay, ma'am. Okay. So if I could get Miss Sidhu on this very point, as you have traveled extensively, over your 4-day visit to the state, ma'am, what actually led to this conclusion that it's a state-sponsored violence and the role of the Mirapaivis, you have termed it as state managed drama. So what actually led to this conclusion? Can you tell us?
क्या मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगी, ठीक है। बात ये है कि हम लोगों ने हाई वोल्टेज ड्रामा बोला क्योंकि चीफ मिनिस्टर अपना रेजिग्नेशन लेके पब्लिक के बीच में चले गए, जबकि एक चीफ मिनिस्टर या कोई भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से नॉमिनेटेड इलेक्टेड, उसको अपने गवर्नर को सेंड करना था, बाई हैंड देते या मेल करते। इंटरनेट की दुनिया जो है वो पब्लिक के लिए बंद है। चीफ मिनिस्टर हाउस के अंदर और सीएमओ के अंदर वाईफाई चल रहा है, कनेक्ट है, तो अपने गवर्नर को भेजते, पीएम को भेजते, किसी को भी करते, लेकिन वो अपना रेजिग्नेशन लिए और पब्लिक के बीच में चले गए, और वहां पे उनके कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर है, उन्होंने उसको फाड़ दिया। फिर ये कह दिया कि ये तो महिला लोगों ने फाड़ दिया है इसको, रेजिग्नेशन को। तो ये इसलिए कहा गया कि ये एक तरह का ड्रामा उन्होंने किया है पब्लिक की सिंपैथी लेने के लिए। ये उनका काम नहीं था, बीरेंद्र सिंह जी को अपना रेजिग्नेशन गवर्नर को हैंड ओवर करना था, तो इस तरह का करने की जरूरत नहीं थी। दूसरा, स्टेट स्पॉन्सर वायलेंस की जब बात की गई है, बहुत सारे लोगों से बात किया हम, 6 रिलीफ कैंप के अंदर गए हैं, उसके अलावा हम डिप्टी कमिश्नर से मिले हैं, हम असिस्टेंट डिप्टी कमिश्नर से मिले हैं, ऑन रोड जो पब्लिक है उनके साथ हमने डायलॉग किया है। जो हमने वहां फेस किया है, पुलिस फायरिंग के बीच में हमने पूरा एक नाइट निकाला है, हमारे दोनों साइड में फायरिंग हो रही थी। हमने उन लोगों को फेस किया है जिनके साथ वायलेंस हुआ है, जिनके लोग मिसिंग हैं, जिनके लोगों की बॉडी उनको नहीं मिली है, या जिनको मार दिया है, मोर्चरी में बॉडी पड़ी है, 2 महीने से वो बॉडी रिलीज नहीं हुई है। तो एक एक फैक्ट ये सामने निकल के आया। दूसरा, लोग खुद कह रहे हैं, जब कुकीज के बीच में गए हैं, मैतेई के बीच में गए हैं, हम तो सब लोगों के बीच में गए, हमारा कोई मैलाफाइड इंटेंशन नहीं है। तो पब्लिक क्या कह रही है, जो पब्लिक की ओपिनियन है वो ही हमने प्रेस के सामने रखा था कि वहां पे इस तरह के हालात हैं। और 2 महीने हो गए, 2 मंथ कंटिन्यूसली वायलेंस चल रहा है, हर रोज लोग मारे जा रहे हैं, कभी उधर के कभी उधर के। ऐसी कंडीशन के अंदर अगर सरकार उसको रोकने में फेलियर हुई है तो ये उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है। इवन गवर्नर साहब जो अपने गवर्नर हाउस के अंदर बैठे हुए हैं, उनको बाहर निकल के एक बार किसी रिलीफ कैंप में विजिट तो करना चाहिए था। सभी रिलीफ कैंप के अंदर ये कहा गया कि हमारे पास आप पहले लोग हैं जो आए हैं, और कभी कोई आया नहीं है। वहां प्रेग्नेंट लेडीज हैं, वहां पे बच्चे हैं, वहां पे बूढ़े लोग हैं, सीनियर सिटीजन हैं, और वो किस कंडीशन में रह रहे हैं। फूड उनके पास क्या है, दाल चावल और कुछ नहीं है। और ऐसी
Okay.
कंडीशन में जो सप्लीमेंट फूड उनको मिलना चाहिए, जो मेडिसिन उनको मिलनी चाहिए, यहाँ तक कि सैनिटरी पैड्स तक गर्ल्स को अवेलेबल नहीं है, उनकी स्कूल कॉलेज छूट गए हैं, एग्जाम सरकार ने अनाउंस कर दिए, कितना वहां पे क्राइसिस है, तो उसकी तरफ तो ध्यान नहीं है। लेकिन इस
Okay.
तरह का
So, ma'am, just to sum it up, what you are saying is that the conclusion that you have reached, or the team has reached during its, extensive consultation, is based on people's opinion. You spoke to the people, you understood their views, and then you actually reached this conclusion. That's what you are saying, right?
yes.
Okay, okay. Mr. Matthews, if I could get you in, it's a very important now. Now we're talking about the legalities. Now, if you see the FIR, the reported FIR that has been filed by the Manipur police, and especially if we analyze the sections that have been invoked, there are serious sections like 121A, 124A, waging war against the state, sedition, and so on and so forth. So, sir, in light of these charges, how difficult it is for an activist civil society groups to work if such charges are invoked.
Well, when it comes to sedition laws, it is having its historical background of 1870, when during the time of the British era. So nowadays, in many occasions, it is used is a hard reality, no doubt at all. But when it comes to the courts for the purpose of bail, whenever the allegation is just like some kind of promoting anti-national activities or anything, frankly speaking, it is very difficult to get a bail. Then the first part, when a person is accused in these kind of activities in the FIR, the difficulty start with getting a bail. It can go for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We cannot say exactly about that. Then comes the trial aspect. So totally how many years an accused has to invest in this litigation? No idea at all. Well, when it comes to the legality of this act, without doubts, I'm not against these stringent laws, but arbitrary use of this. For example, in this case, I have not seen the report, but what I understand is that it is the team was by Mrs. Annie Raja, a senior politician, and she had interacted with the people from various parts of life, I mean the affected parties, and come with a statement that it is a state-sponsored violence. We are not in a position to say about the correctness of this statement. Anyway, there is a report to the effect that it is there. So your specific question is, what will be the legal consequences? What I want to answer is this. Once a person is accused in this kind of stringent offenses, it is very difficult to get bail. Because once there is an FIR, the court will take that there is prima facie case against that, and the other consequences will follow. But it should not be misused. The problem with the misusing of this provision is this: when original accused who has committed the crime, that will be blended with innocence also. So being the situation in a democratic country, different opinions should come for sure. Then only there should be democratization. I mean, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Otherwise, please, because otherwise what happens is people will be always supporting will be forced to support the policies of the government, whether they like it or not. There should be a mechanism one can openly say without fear, without favor or anything. This is my view. And there are so many theories also. Some may say that foreign elements in this, some may say that religious elements in this. It can be anything, various theories. And unless there is malefice, one should not be accused in this kind of serious offenses, and accusing innocence in serious offenses will dilute the objective behind the act itself, even during British time. Of course, after independence, its a focus and object is altogether different. Because democracy, basic structure of the constitution. For democratic process, freedom of speech and expression is essential, and restriction is limited to the subclause in Article 19. If it goes against that, it is okay. Otherwise, it is not advisable to invoke these stringent provisions. That is my view.
Okay. So if we could get Ms. Kavita, I think she has to leave. So just one more question, ma'am. As Mr. Matthews has said very elaborately, that it's very difficult to get bail when such charges are invoked. So looking at that, how do you think future investigations or future independent inquiries will actually impact or will suffer when we see that such kind of rules are being imposed?
Basically, they want to deter groups from coming. Basically, they don't want anybody to bring out an alternative narrative to what they are trying to present. And this trying to put it, and here it is one team, Nisha and Annie and the lawyer, Apart from them, this professor and 4 others, totally 6 people, and another few FIRs. So it's very clear that by using these stringent laws, they don't want any more teens from coming from any part of India or internationally and write about it. And this very clearly shows the maliciousness. It's absolutely, I mean, these FIRs are malicious. They're not merely frivolous. They're malicious. They, in fact, if you, yeah, I mean, what did Gandhi say? The use of the provisions that they've used here, like 124, not even 124A, 124A sedition. They've used 124, which is, hurting something to do with the governor and other constitutional authorities, the governor and the president. How do you use sections like 124? I mean, it's really outrageous, the way they've used that. Then they've tried to use waging war against state. Waging war against state is basically got a death sentence. You can imagine.
Right.
So,
Right.
so basically, they're trying to say that you are trying to assault the president and the governor. But what was the assault? I mean, this 124 is outrageous. Waging war, what was it that they did? As far as waging, I mean, they're going there, their press conference, never caused any violence, nothing. And then of course they've gone on to say that you try to cause riot, you try to promote enmity, you try to cause rioting, you try to be prejudicial towards national integration. I mean, what is all this? They've actually crossed all limits. So therefore, I think the Supreme Court has intervened in one of the cases and given interim protection to one of them of the 3, and we are hopeful that when the next hearing happens, the Supreme Court will understand that this is totally malicious. I mean, even if you look at the FIR, I mean, and there's nothing in the report, Mr. Wills Matthew. The report, I mean, if we had done it, we would have done it even more strongly. So, I mean, if you look at the FIR text, it's like a essay, and it shows what all Mr. Biren Singh has done. It's like his bio data. What was the production of poppy? I mean, this is all in the FIR. When the previous Chief Minister, Bobby Singh of the Congress, was there, it follows by, what is it now ever since Biren Singh came? I mean, is all this an FIR? They're nowhere zeroed down on anything to do with what they finally constitute as sections. You understand? No, the text doesn't take you to the section. All it says that, the resignation drama is something that, I mean, they try to praise him. Even the FIR is praising him. That, he was forced to do this and forced to take back. He was compelled not to resign. All this is it. But what is all this in the FIR? It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous. It's like an essay. So I would say very clearly and conclude what, as a human rights organization, I feel what we have to protect is our human right to inquire and know, and therefore fact-finding should be allowed. These tools cannot be compromised with, number 1. Number 2, we want these cases closed at Manipur level immediately. They need to be closed. These FIRs really need to be closed immediately. And third, we think the violence ought to stop. Why did they go? They went to understand what is happening. And they've written a lot also about the peace process. So even our appeal is that now bringing back the 2 communities to dialogue, bring them back to a situation where arms are withdrawn. Those are the things that we need to do, except in today's papers, we are reading that the kind of bunkers that have been created, actually, it is headed towards a warlike situation. So our appeal through your show is that all those authorities, including the present Chief Minister, everybody, the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, they need to intervene and bring everybody on the table and stop this violence. That's the important thing. along with not trying to shoot the messenger. Those who reported about it, you're trying to shoot.
If I could get Miss Nisha and to respond to this. So basically, do you think that the usage of two terms, one is the state-managed drama and state-sponsored violence, that has actually led to such serious, criminal offenses, or rather, the invocation of such serious offenses?
मिस्टर सिद्धार्थ, हमने क्यों कहा ये बात हाई वोल्टेज ड्रामा और स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड वायलेंस? बिकॉज जब हम लोग 29th की इवनिंग इम्फाल में लौट के वापस आए, हम बीच बाजार में थे, वहां पे एक आर्मी मैन को शूट किया गया था, उसके बिल्कुल यहाँ पे उसके गोली लगी थी, उसकी दोनों आईज बाहर थी। उस बॉडी के पास मैं गई हूँ, मैंने उसके फोटो क्लिक किए हैं, लोगों से बात किया है, और तभी मुझे बहुत सारी महिला लोगों ने ये कहा कि हमारी पुलिस ने हमको ये कहा ये एक ट्रक वेपन्स का है, वो लोग तुम्हें मार रहे हैं, तुम उनको मारो। मैं ये ओपनली स्टेटमेंट दे रही हूँ क्योंकि महिला लोगों ने हमको ये कहा है कि हमको पुलिस ने, सरकार ने वेपन्स दिए हैं। हमारे पास एक ट्रक कल शाम को यहाँ वेपन्स का आया है, बंदूक का, कि वो तुम्हें मार रहे हैं तो तुम लोग भी मारो। क्या ये किसी स्टेट की या सरकार कोई ऐसा कर सकती है? उसका वायलेंस को रोकना उसकी पहली प्राथमिकता होती है। उसका इस तरह से ओपनली वेपन्स को सर्कुलेट करना, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना, क्या ये सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है? इसीलिए कहा कि ये स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड वायलेंस है। ये खाली 3 मई को, 3 मई को इंसिडेंट शुरू नहीं हुए हैं। पब्लिक ने बताया कि ये तो मार्च से शुरू हो गया था, जब 3 चर्च को बर्न किया गया, जब लैंड एविक्शन किया गया, और
Yes, you have mentioned this in your report that there was a build up to this violence, right?
yes. So जो हमको पब्लिक ने कहा वही हमने कहा। हमने रिलीफ कैंप्स के अंदर जो प्रॉब्लम्स है उसको भी बताया है और सामने रखा है। हमने जो पब्लिक ने ये कहा कि इवन रिम्स हॉस्पिटल में हम लोग इम्फाल में जब पेशेंट से मिलने के लिए गए हैं, पेशेंट कौन है? जो उस वक्त वायलेंस में इंजर्ड हुए हैं, या जिनके बुलेट्स लगी हैं, या जिनकी सर्जरी हुई है। तो वो भी ये बात कह रहे हैं कि हमको पिछले 2 महीने से ना तो सरकार की तरफ से कोई नुमाइंदा आया, ना पुलिस की तरफ से आया, ना कोई स्टेटमेंट दिया, ना कोई कंपनसेशन रिलीज हुआ, ना किसी ने आके हमारे स्टेटमेंट लिए, ना कोई एफआईआर की कॉपी हमको प्रोवाइड करवाई गई है। और जब हम कुकीज एरिया में गए हैं चुरा चांदपुर में, वहां पे भी हमको विक्टिम्स ने ये बात बहुत ही ओपनली कही है कि हमारे जो लोग मारे गए हैं, हमारे हस्बैंड हैं, भाई हैं, पिता हैं, उनकी बॉडी हम लोगों को अभी तक फ्यूनरल के लिए सरकार के द्वारा प्रोवाइड नहीं करवाई गई है। वो बॉडी मॉर्चरी में इम्फाल के अंदर रखी गई है। तो 2 महीने तक किसी बॉडी का डिसऑनर करना, तो ये क्या सरकार की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है? सरकार क्यों उससे बच रही है? ऐसे केस जो उन्होंने फाइल किया है, इससे ज्यादा बड़ा कोई और भी ऑफेंस है वो भी हम पे लगा सकते हैं, लेकिन सच बोलने से कभी रोका नहीं जा सकता किसी को। जो तथ्य है, सरकार की जो छटपटाहट है, जो परेशानी है, वो ये है कि हम उनकी नाक के नीचे से लोगों से जाके बात कर पाए हैं, लोगों आम पब्लिक के सामने ये तथ्य, ये फैक्ट हम बाहर ला पाए हैं, लोगों को बता पाए हैं कि वहां दरअसल मणिपुर के अंदर हो क्या रहा है, सरकार कर क्या रही है, और ये बीजेपी क्यों इसको सीरियस नहीं ले रही है। और यहाँ तक लोगों ने ये कहा है कि जिस दिन 3 मई को ये वायलेंस शुरू हुआ है, उसी दिन वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया वहां पे अपना एंटरटेनमेंट कर रहे थे इम्फाल के अंदर। तो ये लोगों को में गुस्सा है इस बात को लेकर।
Okay, so Mr. Matthews, if I could bring you in at this juncture. Yesterday, the Supreme Court gave interim protection to one of the members of the fact-finding committee, and has restrained the Manipur police from taking any further action. So, is this a recognition that the charges that have been leveled against them, they are very, very serious?
Well, what I feel is this: there is a court has protection, given protection to a lawyer, if I am not wrong. Only one
Right,
out of
right.
all
Yes,
others.
yes, yes.
And only one party approached the Honorable Supreme Court also. And there are two things. One is, as a lawyer, the special protection, because in discharge of official duty or whatever it may be, on the first part. And secondly, the lawyer is the only person who approached the court. Other parties can also approach the Honorable Supreme Court that the co-accused is granted protection. I may be also given protection. In every possibility, for granted special protection. The reason is this: for any reasons, if one of the accused is arrested, the consequences is disastrous. So it is in the interest of the victim to get anticipatory bail or some kind of protection from the courts of law. The reason generally Supreme Court will not entertain direct access under Article 32. They will always say that you go to the concerned High Court. But in this case, Supreme Court directly interfered in this matter because of the seriousness of the issue. I think so. And there is a prima facie case that can be another reason also. Generally,
so
court
what
will
you're
not
saying-
interfere. So
Okay,
my feeling is this: once one of the accused got the relief, in every possibility, our other accused also will get this relief. In every possibility from the same court itself. That is what I feel like that. And because otherwise, no, because it is the primary state to maintain law and order than all other issues. And in this case, for the purpose, part of democratic process, somebody is coming with a report. And even if it is not necessary that all reports are correct, even judgments are not always correct. There is a special pleadings at various levels like that, corrections. So just like that, in this case, invoking very serious offenses, totally improbable offenses. There are various options. There is a provision for quashing of the FIR also, because they have not threatened the Honorable His Excellency the President of India or His Excellency the Governor, nothing like that. So it is highly improbable. Even if contempt of the FIR is taken as true, even then the offense is not made out. So it depends on various aspects. But the point is this: for any reasons, if any of the accused is arrested, it will be a lengthy process. So it is always advisable to get anticipatory bail or special protection from the court. And generally speaking, whenever serious issues connected with Article 21, right to life with a dignity, Supreme Court will interfere. However busy they are, earlier, say some 20 or 25 years back, it was very easy because of so many litigations, pending litigations. Supreme Court discouraged direct intervention and always you go to the concerned High Court. But
So if you were to
whenever,
see, Mr. Matthews, just to intervene, if you were to see, in generally in these fact-finding reports, when such inquiries are conducted by, independent civil society groups, how often do we see that such charges are leveled against them, even if the reports are, they say that, the state is directly involved in the violence and so on and so forth. How common are these charges? Is it very common?
well, about the correctness of the report, we cannot make any comment right now because we don't know exactly what it is.
No,
When
I'm not
it
talking about
comes,
the correctness of the report per se. I'm saying if in cases where independent groups come out with such reports, after fact-finding exercise, how common is it for the police to level such serious charges? How common is it?
that is very often nowadays happening globally, actually. I mean, suppression of independent, impartial, fearless thoughts and expressions are restrained in many ways globally. It is not an Indian issue, it is a global issue. Anyway, democracy with great hope, but after say 50 years or 100 years, many countries are facing these kind of issues. But for justice, what I feel is that generally police will always support the government, generally speaking, because they are also having a definite part. They could not do the preventive steps. They are also after so many lapses. And when these kind of issues are happening in India, what is happening is there is judicial inquiry by a retired judge or something. I think that is the only way the victims, including the accused, can get justice. I mean, judicial inquiry by some retired judges of the court who are familiar with the place or familiar with the language, familiar with the customs. I think that can
Okay.
bring some results. That is my feeling.
Okay, so just to get the concluding remarks from both my panelists, first to Miss Nisha, ma'am, as you have toured the state, you have seen various things. So what is the condition now? And what is a possible long-term solution? What you think of after interacting with various stakeholders?
सिद्धार्थ जी, एक बात मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि हम दोनों समुदायों में वहां पे मिले हैं, दोनों के आम इनोसेंट पीपल्स से बात की है। दोनों तरफ लोग कहते हैं कि हम अपने घरों को वापस लौटना चाहते हैं, अपने काम पे वापस जाना चाहते हैं, और हम लोग पीस चाहते हैं। तो जब वो लोग पीस चाहते हैं, मैं एक पर्टिकुलर एक यंग लड़की की बात कर रही हूँ, उसने वो बीएससी पास आउट है, उसने कहा कि हम भी पीस चाहते हैं और वो भी पीस चाहते हैं, फिर सरकार क्यों चुप है? तो उसने छोटे से शब्दों में बहुत बड़ी बात ये कह दी थी। तो इसीलिए हम सरकार से अपील करते थे कि सरकार भी वहां शांति बहाल करे। यही बात तो हमने जब चीफ मिनिस्टर से टाइम मांगा मिलने के लिए, उन्होंने नहीं दिया, गवर्नर से टाइम मांगा, उन्होंने नहीं दिया। तो हम सिवाय प्रेस के पास जाके अपनी बात कहने के हमारे पास कोई और वजह नहीं थी, इसलिए हमने प्रेस से अपील की कि आप लोगों तक, सरकार तक हमारी बात को पहुंचाइए। और जो पब्लिक ने कहा वही बात हमने कही है, इसीलिए हमको लगता है कि वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं। ये स्टेट उस बात को समेटना नहीं चाहता, उस वायलेंस को रोकना नहीं चाहता। हर रोज लोग मार रहे हैं, औरतें रो रही हैं बुरी तरह से, बच्चे रो रहे हैं, घर से बेघर हो गए हैं, कैंपों के अंदर हालत बिल्कुल अच्छी नहीं है। और यंग स्टूडेंट्स अपील कर रहे थे कि हमारे एग्जाम सरकार ने डिक्लेयर कर दिया, हमारे पास बुक्स पढ़ने के लिए नहीं है, हमारे घर जल गए हैं, हम अपना एग्जाम कैसे दें? तो क्या उस दर्द को हम लोग महसूस नहीं कर सकते? क्या वो तकलीफ हमें नहीं होती है? तो बहुत सारी जगह पे इंडियन फ्लैग्स लगे हुए थे और लिखा हुआ था वी आर पार्ट ऑफ द नेशन। मणिपुर अगर पार्ट ऑफ द नेशन है तो निश्चित तौर पे सरकार को उस पर एक्शन लेना चाहिए, केंद्र सरकार को वहां पे शांति बहाली के लिए पहल करनी चाहिए, मूक दर्शक बन के तमाशा नहीं देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि लोगों की जिंदगी का सवाल है।
Okay, concluding comments from Mr. Matthews.
Well, this is an issue concerning right to life, Article 21, the most superior right of every Indian citizen. Even when there is a proclamation of emergency, Article 21 is there. And I feel so sorry about what is happening there. And even after 1 month or 45 days, peace has not yet reached. And at any cost, by whatever way, there should be peace. People should be put back on the track. That's all.
Okay, so thank you to both my panelists for joining us today and shedding light on these very, very important issues, and especially while talking about the legal aspects, Mr. Matthews, I think he has summed it up brilliantly. What exactly these the offenses entail, and what is the way forward. So thank you to both my panelists, and we hope to see you again for more such discussions.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.